Hey, it's Don, the Auction Professor here. Today we are going to talk about how to improve your sales. The number one question and comments I'm getting is my sales are down. What can I do? What's out there for me to do to improve it? First off, let me just get a few things out of the way. If your items aren't any good and nobody wants them, they're not going to sell. Straight off the board. If you're not researching and doing the homework, once you find something, you're just not getting the picture here. You're not doing the right things. Number one thing you should be doing every time you're out there shopping and before you buy something is to make sure it's worth buying. Research it. Make sure it's got good comps. Make sure it has past sales history that you can track. Or if it doesn't have tracked saleable history, know the area that you're in to know whether it's worth buying because it will or won't sell. But for those of you who still have the issues, you've got good items, you've done your research, you've double-checked, you know everything's there, you've got comp history and you're still not selling, this is the slower time of the year for some people, depending on what you're selling. So keep that in mind to start off with. This is the type of year that people expect to get some sales and some deals. They've already went through Christmas. They've spent a ton of money there. So they don't have a ton to spend for the most part in some areas. It's not that way across the board. Collectibles are a little bit different. People who have disposable money are buying collectibles in the first place. So it sells all year round depending on what they are and how rare, how scarce the chances of somebody buying this item. So, but that's just with collectibles. So again, if you're suffering, you're still having issues, your items are good, you've done all the little ploys, you've checked your keyword searches, you've got good photos up there. Again, good photos. Just having a photo is not enough. Just having a title up there is not enough. You've got to research, see what sells when you're looking at keywords. Look at the comps and look at the solds. See what sells for more money. Look at their titles. Kind of mimic that if you have to. The same keywords, the same phrases, the same categories. It's all research. That's what helps do this. But the best thing I can tell you right now is to do targeted actual markdowns in your store. Again, if you're pricing them correctly, you have some playroom to begin with. Don't price them at what you expect to get out of them and put them up as a bin and expect to make a ton of money off of them. Don't put them up as an auction for $10 expecting a bunch of bidders to raise it to some phenomenal level. It doesn't work that way anymore. Auctions are getting to be not as vogue as they were 10 years ago when everybody was in the auction game. I've switched. I've followed the market. So when auctions started to wane, I've started to bomb it with bins. And bins work so much better for me. And for most people that I know, bins are the bomb. That's the way to go. The bins are the best. Buy it now with a make an offer. So those are what we use. We're going to show you the targeted markdowns right now. I'm going to flop over the screen and we will address that right now. So what we have here is the Seller Hub, and I am in marketing and I'm going to do a markdown sale. I only do a couple sales just on some certain items. You can see I got a $400 boost almost just by doing a couple quick sales. I'm going to show you how to do it right now. I always go up here to create a promotion. I'm going to do a sale event and a markdown. From here, you're going to decide the amount you want to do. I usually do like 25%. I can do 30 as well because, again, I do mark my items up for a considerable amount from many other people. I'm going to go to select item. This works for me every time. I do specifically select the specific item. I don't create the rules using the categories for this type of markdown. I do a ton of markdowns and promotions using the specific categories, though. So there's two different ways. This specific model, to increase sales quickly, I specifically pick the items. I pick them based on the actual amount of watchers for those items. So then we're going to select the specific items. Now, I've already done this with many of my items that did have multiple watchers, so you will see a bunch that are already taken care of. I did save an item so I could go over that specifically. I'll come over here and I'm going to pick the watchers column. You can actually adjust some of these columns too, but I picked the watchers column, and then I'm going to look by how many watchers are on each specific item, and I'm going to hammer those first. Now, most of these I've already done. Just as I said, on the 8th or 9th, I did a bunch of these, because again, that's the time frame I do it. The beginning of each month is slow up till, like, say, the 7th through the 10th, and then it picks up from there. So at the time frame in there is when I start to put these on to get some sales up. But I don't care if the first week is slow. As long as I make it up later on in the month, it doesn't matter to me at all. So I've got a record here. We're going to just go through the process here. So I'm going to pick this one item today. Normally I'm picking a bunch. It has 7 watchers. It's been up for a little length of time, not super long. Now you can add like length of time and go by that and track it as well too. I just worry about the watchers. I know my items, so I can pretty much judge how long they've been up. by even some of the lettering or my sourcing or the actual bin areas that the items are in. So that's what plays with this. Once you pick all the items, whatever they may be, and of course you're going to want to pick all the items that have a bunch of watchers that haven't had any action for a certain length of time, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, whatever your plan is. Confirm selection. It's going to show you the options here. You're going to save and review once you've looked through here to make sure this is what you want. 25% off this item. I don't sell most 78s below, say, $15, so that'll put it right in my mark. So then you're going to confirm it. Now this sale event name, this is just for you. So this I'm going to put up for YouTube. That way I know what this is for. Nobody sees this aspect of it here too. You can put, include skip items when they qualify. So that means items that may not have been originally included in a list that you select, you can add them in as it goes. Keep items in the sale and block revisions for price increases. That means if later on you want to change it or put them into a different sale, it wouldn't let you do it. Then you can select the time frame. I usually just use exactly what it says there. It does it for 30 days automatically. I have no problem with that. You might just want to do it for a week and just see how it goes and go from there. But I promise you this works for me every time if I list some up here. Just put some title in here. Records. Let's just do it this way. Select records. Now up to and 25% off. You can word it however you want, but I always use the word select of the item. So you're not thinking that it's every item in that category. And literally that's all there is to it. So then all you're going to do is hit the launch button, and then it's ready to go. And once you launch it, then it goes live in just a little bit of time. You can set it, lower your time down so it starts sooner. I just let it go. I don't do a whole bunch of sales at the same time, though, just because that way you're not going to have a ton of items to ship out if you're not ready for them. So that's just another philosophy I do. This always works for us. It always boosts my sale. And as you saw, I got a $400 boost in just the last few days from running this type of sale. Whenever you need an issue or you have a bunch of items that weren't up, do this. You can also, as I said, make sure that the title's correct. Make sure that the image is good. If they're showing a bad image, people are just going to pass it by. If the image is like from a distance of the item and you can't really see it very well, you've got a bunch of stuff cluttered in the background, it's not viewable very well scanning through on the gallery views when you're doing like searches and things for items. So people will pass you by. If your title's not correct, sometimes even if you have too much information in your title, that can hurt you. They might not be looking for that specific item. So one ploy that I do is limiting the information in the title. This way it piques their interest, and once they're into your listing, they might actually be interested in it anyway, even if they might not have originally been looking for that specific item. So that is a ploy I do for some items, limiting the title information, only using a couple keywords. So in other listings, you will have to be really specific. I've looked at many people's stores and listings, and what I come to find out is a lot of people sometimes don't have the right words. They don't have enough information, while in other cases, they have too much information. You've got to find the balance there for the most of the items that you list. There is a way to get increases on sales by doing both of those with your title. And as I said, the photos are so important. The main photo is key. It has to be a good example of the item. It has to show it off well. It can't be cluttered, as I said. So anyway, that's this part of it. Well, that's what I do for targeted markdowns. It always works. If I run a campaign on a bunch of items, good items, I'm going to sell a couple $100 within the first 24 hours just out of those markdowns, guaranteed. You've got the watchers on there. It's better than just sitting there and pecking off at a couple watchers at a time. When you've got quantity in your store, this is the best way. You bulk market them, do a bulk markdown in the promotion section of your hub, and then boom, you're going to get some sales. They're going to stagger throughout. It might take a few days for some folks to see these. It does a broad range of markdowns across the board for you. I don't hit every listing that has watchers. I try not to do the ones that only have one or two. In some cases, if it's a newer item or it's been up for only 30 or 40 days, I might actually add that to it. But for the most part, I hit the ones that have 3, 4, 5, 6 watchers or more, and then I go from there and see what I can do with them. The ploy works. It works for me every single time I do it. There are other aspects to think about. Every month, usually for the first week to 10 days, it's a little slower for most people. This is across the board. I've tracked, I've done projections. I've got sales history for over 6 years of doing this. It's this way constantly. The first week or so of every single month is slower, so I never panic. That's why I say look at the big picture, the end of that month. Don't just panic because the first week is slow. That may not be a deterring factor. The reason being the first week is slower, everybody pays the rent on the first, third, fifth, or somewhere in that range. So you've got people shelling out large sums of money. They're paying their electricity, whether at a mortgage or rent. They might have car payments. Everything is usually taken care of at the beginning of the month or at the end, which again is the beginning of the month they're spending their money. People live paycheck to paycheck. They may not spend the money till pay comes in. They may have the money but don't want to till they have the recouping money coming in from their paycheck. So that's why the first 7 to 10 days of every month, I never worry if the sales are a little slow. That's always a good time as well to put these markdowns in. So when I do the markdowns, I do try to do them in the first 7 to 10 days of each and every month. That way, that time frame is usually bumped back up in sales, and then I don't have the issue. By the 10th, 11th of the month, the sales start to pick up a little bit. This is a routine. I am telling you, for us, this is a routine. Dispendable income is what most people are using for items that I sell. It may not be the same for you because it may not be dispendable income. It may be income that they have to have and spend, but it's essentials they're buying from you, clothing, books, or something that they have to help their everyday life. For me, what I sell, the majority of it, are items that don't really matter to an ordinary person. They only matter to a collector or a specific business or organization. So take those into consideration too. But I promise you, if your items are good, you've done your homework, you've done your research, you've done your keywords, your photos are good, your listings are good, the titles are good, all you need to do is do some targeted marketing towards those folks with the promotions tab in your hub. It works for me every single time I have an issue or I want to address a slower sales period. It's a quick fix. Usually if you've got enough items up, you're going to see a return on this almost immediately. Within the first few hours, you can have sales coming in already that quick. That's just how it works for us. I see it that way every time I do it. But that's what I have for you today. Don the Auction Professor. If you liked the video, please hit the like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified when I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell a friend.